Will Smith is a twat.
Oh, I liked him.
Will Smith has been hiding the fact of who he really is, and it was exposed that night.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. So, Stephen A. Smith is standing down after receiving backlash for saying Will Smith needs to publicly address the black community regarding him slapping Chris Rock at the 2022 Academy Awards. During Monday's episode of his show, the ESPN anchor clarified his original comments before acknowledging the feedback he's received from Will Smith's supporters. According to Stephen A., Will's actions directly affected Will Parker, who produced the Oscars that year and was the first black producer to do so. He also believes Will's film Emancipation was possibly snubbed the following year due to his behavior, also asserting that director Antoine Fuqua may have missed out on Best Director nomination. Stephen A. then added that he never discouraged the public from supporting Will and acknowledged that the actor's life has been more good than bad. He also shared that he received countless messages from black fans of Will who wholeheartedly disagree with the notion that the actor owes the black community anything. So that we're all on the same page, let's listen to Stephen A. Smith. Please like the video and subscribe. Thank you.
Will Smith is a twat.
Oh, I liked him.
Will Smith has been hiding the fact of who he really is, and it was exposed that night. He's really an asshole. But I wasn't allowed to say anything at that time because we were part of the committee.
Right.
I was supposed to punish him.
And how do you punish him?
Wow, wait. Just back up a second. Hang on.
I want to know
Will
what the punishment
Smith is like, for me, when I met him, right, I always say.
Like the nicest,
yes,
most wonderful. He's a liar. Complete, utter fraud. Will is a douchebag, and that's something that you can't. The thing is, that's how politically correct the Academy is.
Right.
That they were so cowardly. Because if I would have done that, they would have been hauled out to prison. But because they were so worried about being, racist, violence is what it is, and what the color of your skin or your religion doesn't matter.
Sure.
If you commit a crime in front of other people, you get hauled out of there.
Yeah, but didn't you also sort of think, oh, he's standing up for his missus? You didn't like that?
It doesn't matter. You can't hit another dude.
When we use the word forgivable or forgiveness, that's for Chris Rock to deal with. It's his call. He could have had the man arrested that night and insisted to the LAPD that not be the case. Could have pressed charges thereafter and insisted on not doing that to Will Smith, not making the incident any bigger than what it was. Yes, he came out with his own flick for next fix, got about $20 million for it. After tax, he probably walked home with about $6 million. But Chris Rock is damaged. In the day and age of mental illness or traumatic incidences that affects one's mind and psyche and what have you, yeah, you might see him at Knicks games. Yeah, you might see him still going about the business of performing on tour or doing his job or handling his business. Chris Rock will never get over that. Ever. Will Smith apologized. I'm not saying he even has to apologize. I'm saying that while I watch him and Martin Lawrence promoting this movie, and I'm quite sure the reason he hasn't addressed it is because the studios don't want him to, and there's an obligation that you have with them, all fair, I get it. But somewhere along the way, he has to sit down and talk to the black community. You can see all the white people around Will Smith all you want to. Black folks have loved and revered this man for decades. He was the closest thing to perfection, as his friend Charlie Mack once told me, for decades. Everybody makes a mistake. This is not hatred. I love Will Smith still. But you got to have a conversation as to why you did that. And when you're apologizing, and when you're getting emotional, and when you're thinking about all the lives or the people that you've affected, it's primarily us as black people who have loved and supported you and watched you go on an international stage and slap one of us in the face and tarnished an historic event for one of the great black producers of modern times in Will Packer, possibly costing yourself and Antoine Fuqua an Oscar for Emancipation along the way. I'm not going to say what you did to the comedic community. Hell, Jim Carrey spoke about that along with various others. We know you wouldn't have smacked Ricky Gervais, Bill Maher, Bill Burr, or a host of others. We know you wouldn't have done that. No apology necessary. I'm just saying, a lot of folks ain't get over that. A lot of folks find it hard to just go to the movies to watch you. I'm one of those people. And I never missed a Will Smith movie. Hitch, Concussion, all the Bad Boys movie, from the first one to Y'all with Gabrielle Union, who, by the way, should have been in 3 and 4, by the way. Along with a host of other things. I Am Legend, Independence Day, Men in Black, 1, 2, and 3. Will Smith, you're phenomenal. Phenomenal talent, phenomenal actor, phenomenal individual. You lost your way one night. We need to hear that from you. I'm sorry. That's what I need to do before I look forward to seeing your movies again, more than seeing a sit down. I don't know if I'll ever get over what Will Smith did to Chris Rock. But that doesn't mean I have to. And it doesn't mean that it's a license for me to negatively impact Will Smith. Will Smith slapping Chris Rock was a devastating thing. I'm not talking just for Chris Rock, who's a friend of mine. I'm talking for the black community, because obviously Will Packer was the first black producer to be doing the Oscars in its history. And that was a devastating blow to him. Will Smith came out with Emancipation a year later for Apple and all of that stuff. Will Smith was sensational in that movie. So was Antoine Fuqua, the esteemed director and producer extraordinaire. One could easily argue that both of them would have won an Oscar for that, and that Will slap cost Will Smith and Antoine Fuqua an Oscar. That's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about black folks everywhere aspiring to be in this business, aspiring to succeed, and something like that happens and it was a blemish on all of us. Because I know how much white America reveres Will Smith. And the thinking along the lines in my mind was, hell, if he did that, what would the rest of us do? There are certain things that happen in the lives of an individual where those incidences are used as a license to castigate the rest of us. And that's what I was thinking about when I said what I said Friday about being torn as to wanting to go see the movie but not wanting to see Will Smith. I wasn't encouraging anybody else not to do it. I was just saying that I was having trouble dealing with it. And then I got a call from my man Charlie Mack. Charlie Mack is Will Smith's former security, good friend of Will Smith, closely connected to Will Smith for decades. I've known Charlie Mack for nearly 30 years. I got a lot of love for him. And he was on fire, calling me because he disagreed with my opinion and was going back and forth with me about it. And then he caught me because he says, Stephen A., what about Grace? What about Grace? This is how he feeds his family. This is how he earns his living. He don't have a right to earn a living ever again. He can't make a mistake, Stephen A., when he never made a mistake before. That's a damn good point. Bigger point he made was Martin Lawrence. Because we all look at Martin Lawrence. If you watch Martin from back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, you can't find nobody that loved Martin Lawrence more than me. That brother is brilliant. That brother has done nothing but create laughs and laughter for us for decades. We should all revere him. And he's the one that brought Will Smith on to Bad Boys. And Will Smith's still doing Bad Boy movies with him, because you know he damn sure ain't trying to do it with anybody else. That's love right there. That's loyalty right there. And then you got to take into account the inordinate amount of people who work on a movie and how they're employed and how they have opportunities. And all because Will Smith is doing what he's doing. And then you got to take into account the fact that throughout Will Smith's life, not just his career, there has been exponentially far more good than bad. And I certainly did not mean to gloss over that. I didn't mean to act like that wasn't reality, that didn't happen. And so I really appreciate my man, my brother, Charlie Mack, for calling me and passionately making that case to remind me of what Will Smith is, who he is, and what he has meant to all of us. You see black people gravitating to him. I'm getting text messages and emails all over the place. Who said he lost our support? He never lost it. We didn't like what he did. It was unfortunate what he did. But damn it, we love Will Smith and we forgive him. You don't hear Chris Rock talking about it, complaining about him. Eventually they'll meet and they'll talk, Stephen A. We heard all of that. So I got to stand down